Jay.
Hey, hold on, let me get my camera going. So I broke my ring light. So this is the best I can do until I get a new one.
You're fine.
I got the windows open. I'm like, let me try to make something happen real quick.
We'll have Microsoft or one of your sponsors send you a new one, so it's all good.
Please, we'll reach out.
Let me see. Let me make sure I got this thing right. Let me see. Let's see. How do I share this thing? Okay, Angel's here. Okay, cool.
Okay, so maybe you are doing something correct, right?
Right. Usually there's always technical difficulties. All the time. This is going too smooth. It's scaring me.
It happens to the best of us.
Listen.
How's what you over there snacking on?
Listen, man, I'm just getting back in the house. I've been ripped. As soon as this is over, I'm gonna smoke a little bit now, but as soon as this is over, I'm gonna give me a strong drink.
You're gonna be back ripping and running.
What? I need an assistant. That's what I need. I need a double me.
I get that. I can definitely get that for sure.
How's your day going so far?
So far, so good. I am I'm moving in 16 days. So I mean, I'm just trying to pace myself over here.
Yo, I'm moving too. That's crazy.
Where you moving to?
I'm moving to the east side of town from Buckhead.
Okay, cool. I hear it's nice in Buckhead.
Oh, you in Atlanta?
No. I'm in Detroit, Michigan, but I'm actually moving. I'm actually moving overseas. So,
wow.
Yeah, we'll see how it unfolds for me.
Okay. Well, listen. I mean, wherever you go, I'm gonna follow you. And on top of that,
we'll be in the loop.
Right. I think you're going to Africa. I think you posted about it one time, didn't you?
I didn't, but I am moving to Africa.
See,
so yeah.
You spent too much time over there. You spent too much time over there. All right, we're gonna get this cracking. I just want to kind of give everybody a little bit. I know more people are gonna roll in as we go on. But all right. So first off, I appreciate you very, very much for joining on us today to be our tech hero, Black tech hero of the day today. You know what I'm saying? Let me make sure everybody. Dominique, girl, your phone all blurry and stuff. You on camera?
Dominique look like she is working out over there, and I'm not mad at that.
Got a lot going on. You hear me? A lot going on.
In the car. Got it.
Anybody with a keychain around their neck got a lot going on. Yeah.
Anybody. Sorry, I just got out of work and was putting my bags down in my car.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I just wanted to let you know, sometimes people just let people be all over the place on camera and don't say nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
We see you, okay?
You hear me? All right, so let me get into it. So we have been friends for a while. I think you were around the time when I first started BCloud Engineers, the Facebook group. I think, in fact, you might have been one of the persons that I reached out to when I started getting into cloud engineering. I was trying to kind of just poke minds and see what this thing is. Is it really possible for a Black person, especially, with a lack of background, to get into the industry, X, Y, and Z. But ever since then, I've been following your story, your speech pathologist. Did I get that correct?
Yes, you did.
No, I got a GED, so you got to help me with my big words, all right?
It's all good.
All right, and then you also do software engineering.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about your background. How did you get started? How did you even how did you mesh the two? Where did it come from? Because I never heard of it. Not together.
Yeah, it is uncommon, but I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I hope I don't get long-winded because it is it's a whirlwind, so to speak. So
I'm down for the ride, Dorothy. Let's go.
So I'm born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I wanted to go to a HBCU at the time.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't do the greeting. I didn't do the greeting. I apologize. All right, go ahead.
That is the traditional greeting for a Detroiter. What up, Joe? So I wanted to go to HBCU so bad. We didn't have any in the state. I think the closest may have been in Ohio, but I was like, I want to go to like a Southern HBCU to get the real experience. So ended up going to Jackson State University. While I was there, I studied speech pathology. Now that came about because I wanted to do something that was not necessarily easy, but something that came natural to me. I've always been really, really talkative. So I was like, let me do something that involves talking, communication, speech, verbalization, something along those lines. So anyways, did that, graduated and start practicing. And for those who may not know what speech pathology is, it is basically the study of communication and language. We provide therapeutic services for people who stutter and who are disfluent, for those who have delays and articulation disorders. We also work with swallowing and feeding. So you can work in the hospital, you can work in the school, you can work.
I was just about to say that. You all usually work with the school system, right?
Yeah, so we can work in a couple different settings. So I did that for a while. I was loving that. Then I got a divorce from my husband, and my family was like, you need to come back to Michigan. Why are you still in Mississippi? What are you doing there? Like, okay, you lived, you learned. Now it's time to come back home.
You lived, you learned. Come on back home.
So literally everybody, my friends was like, why are you still there? What are you doing with, like, come back to the D. So brought my butt back home. And in coming home, I wanted to reinvent myself. I had always been interested in technology.
Well, hold on, let me pause you right there. So when you went through the divorce and you were going back home, at how old were you then? What was this stage in your life?
This was 2016. Okay. So I'm definitely not telling you my age, but
this is after college though, I assume, though, right?
No, it was, let me think. I graduated college in like 2011. So this is like, what, 5 years after?
Yeah, okay. So you were a grown adult. And the reason I asked not to get in your business, because I know, many of our community is going to be watching this video, and they always, on top of imposter syndrome, gets the sense of it's too late for me to change in my ball game, because I'm a grown adult. I got this many responsibilities. And so it's always refreshing to hear adults such as yourself who went through things well into your adulthood and been able to pivot still.
Yeah. I am here for the people with encore careers and for individuals who want to switch it up, as you said, pivot. I think it's important that we do not get comfortable and that we are always reinventing ourselves. So, we think about our parents and their parents and how they stayed at a job for 30 plus years. That's not what we're seeing these days. We're seeing people like, yeah, I'm bored with this, so I want to do something else. So with that in mind, when I moved, I decided I wanted something different for myself. And I didn't exactly know what that would be, but I recall being online one night looking at assistive technology for people who have tracheotomies, individuals who are using technology to speak. I was looking into artificial intelligence. Like, I was really digging deep this particular night. And
just on Google.
Just on Google. Just on Google. So I was digging deep. I was reading articles. I was up pretty late. And I saw that there was a tech boot camp here in the city of Detroit. And their last day for taking students who, would apply was that day. I'm like, what's the best case scenario? Let me just apply. And if they say no, okay, I'll live, right? So applied to it and got in. It was come in for an interview. And I came in for the interview. And afterwards, they were like, hey, we want you to get set up with orientation. We think you'd be a good fit for this program. So within doing that, I learned Java, I learned Python, and I want to say those are the only two that the boot camp really prompted us to learn within the 12 weeks. It was rigorous. It was difficult. I was stressed out. I think I even lost like a patch of hair, like legitimately. No, no cap. Real talk. Like I was
JavaScript is rigorous on its own. So you all were learning JavaScript and Python.
No, we were learning Java. So it was a back end boot camp. So to me, back end is definitely more analytical. You definitely need to know your math and understand just algorithms and arithmetic, like all the things. So that was not my wheelhouse. I was like a liberal arts girl. As I mentioned, I was all into like the speaking and the philosophy. So I was like, this is immense. So anyway, graduated. Graduated from the boot camp, having designed my own app and developed the websites and things like that. So I started then working. I had a couple odds and ends jobs. So I worked.
So hold on. So you did with leaving the boot camp, and then
I graduated.
The reason I'm asking you questions is because I know I get so many questions on videos. I already can anticipate what kind of questions I'm gonna get in the comments, but. And it's the point that you made in your journey is so poignant, is that you said you built websites, you did projects throughout this boot camp. So it wasn't just a boot camp where you just sat with an instructor and with glossary terms and everything. You had the actual complete projects within it. Wow.
We had to complete projects throughout. We had to designate at least 3 hours a day after class to kind of like revisit what we learned, because it was a lot to learn. We were getting like a computer science degree in 12 weeks. So it was.
Who told you that you're a speech pathologist? Who in the world told you to do this, go this route, pursue boot camp, especially software engineering boot camp? Like that's no easy feat.
It's not. Well, I think it's a lot of different things that came into play. First of all, it was me being a Black woman and feeling like, I want to do things that are unconventional. I want to show you all that I can excel at things outside of my scope of understanding. So it was a lot of psychological things into play. I do think Black people are always trying to one up their counterparts. And I believe that was something that I was really focused on. Like I excelled at speech pathology. That's something that I can put in my little tool belt, but now I want to take on a more difficult challenge. I was proving myself to the world, essentially, and to myself, because I think ultimately, I didn't even think I could do it, especially those weeks in where we were looking at, you said glossary terms, and we did have to learn new terms. And it was like, this is not what I am used to. And at the time I had a master's degree, and I can honestly say that boot camp was more difficult than getting my master's. Wow. Like I had some sleepless nights. I was stressed out. And not to mention, during that boot camp, we couldn't work because we had to spend so much time. It was 9 to 5. And then we had the 3 hours afterwards. So we had to sign waivers like we couldn't work. Shout out to the city of Detroit though, because it was like an $8,000 boot camp, but the city of Detroit paid for it for that cohort. And it was about 20 of us in there. And you had to be a resident of the city. And it was a part of their Detroit at Work program where they wanted to get more individuals in jobs, basically.
Look at you being a success story of Detroit. Go ahead. When I go to Detroit and I go to that city hall, it better be a big plaster picture of you.
We
provide the person.
I don't know.
Okay, all right. So I want to hold up your story. All right. So after boot camp, what's your next steps after that?
So what they did, which is really unique, and I don't know if anybody is considering a boot camp, but definitely look at whether they'll have job offerings throughout. So the boot camp not only provided those technical skills, but they implemented soft skills. So every week we would have employers come in, we would be interviewing with people, we would have our resumes being critiqued on a regular basis. So that last week when we were graduating, we had, I can't think of what, it was called a demo. That's what it was. It was called our demo day. So that's where we got to show off our apps. I mean, and it was Fortune 100 companies in there walking around. And can you imagine like a science fair and everybody had their science boards? That's how we were. And it was people coming in.
But this is real work.
This is real life. Because a lot of us, like I said, we couldn't even work. So, we was ready. Yeah, like, come over here so I can show you
like
something.
On the line, M.Ed, you got to prove yourself.
It was survival of the fittest. We was not playing any games. Like, no, come on over here. Hey, how are you? We was learning how to network and everything so that we could secure jobs. I did secure a job. I worked the job for about 2 years. I didn't love it. It was not something that I was like thoroughly in full enjoyment of. So I started another job and I was like, well, maybe this will be different. And these are all software engineering roles, but I just found them to be extremely rigid. And I'm just not that kind of person to be sitting at a desk all day. And I don't know, it didn't really just flow for me. But
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Coming out and let's say your second year in, or even your third career, because like you was about to transition out of working traditional corporate jobs. Would you say that even coming straight out of boot camp, what was the kind of salaries they were offering you, were they enough to be able to make sense of the boot camp being worth it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because my work as a speech pathologist was really capped because I was in a school district. If you're working for a school, you may not understand the rigmarole, but yeah, with the budgets, I was probably making, I want to say 40 in Mississippi, 40K a year. But having come to Michigan, completing the boot camp, I came out and I was making a strong 75. So that for me, that was a boot camp.
And you had
that was a come up.
Listen, I got a GED, so I don't know how many years you got to complete.
Please quit doing that.
I assume it's like, it's got to be like 6 years. It's a long time. A master's program and a boot camp, that is crazy.
It was good money. And so I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was able to provide me a very adequate lifestyle. But I wasn't a huge fan of working in the corporate setting. I did go back to my boot camp essentially and start teaching JavaScript there. So that was like a cool means of income while I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. And what's so magical about the tech industry is the people. So let me tell you how I pivoted into what I am doing now, which is a lot more on the speaking side. So, I'm meeting these amazing people throughout the work that I'm doing. I'm going to conferences, I'm networking using those soft skills that I gained from that boot camp. And my friend put on a word camp in the city of Detroit. That was like my first major speaking role. And he was like, I would love for you to, get a talk together for word camp. I was like, well, I don't know what I'll talk about. And he was kind of probing, engaging a little bit like, so tell us a little, like, what did you used to do before you started in tech and da, 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 da. And so I don't know exactly how this idea came to mind, but I started thinking about the work that I did with children who had special needs, children who were disabled, who had ADHD, dyslexia, autism, all of those neurodiversities. And so I pitched to him and I said, how about I do a talk about how people with dyslexia can really engage and interface with websites online. And he was like, that's perfect. We've never had a talk like that before. So I was like, okay. I went to the drawing board and wrote up
this very innovative, by the way.
It was just
very innovative.
I wish I had a good, like, specific story on how that came. Like, like I wrote it down and
the eureka moment.
Line. I can't. I just remember pitching it to him and just being like, what do you think about that? And he was like, we've never had a talk like that ever in the history of word camps. So yes, we want you to talk about that. And so I was like, oh, okay. And I went to the drawing board, made some slides, made something happen. And it was really easy with my experience with children because it was like creating a lesson plan. It's very simple. So I went in there and I just created this lesson plan and just spoke on it. And then people were so impressed. Like I couldn't even believe they were impressed by it. I was just like, oh, okay. Like people were coming up to me afterwards, like, we can tell you. This one lady said something that just had me like, I just nodded. She said, I can tell you're a veteran speaker.
Yo, that is the compliment of a person who know that you're on top of your A game and they don't want to be over, like they don't want to give you all the credit, but they got to give it up.
They got to give it up. She came in and she was like, I can tell you're a veteran speaker. I mean, people wanted to talk to me afterwards and tell me about like their cousin who has special needs and what he uses online to access websites. And I was really floored by it. But for me, I will never let you know I'm surprised by something. So I was just like, yeah, okay. You know, I played it off. I played my cards because I didn't want to seem like I know what's going on. But after that talk, I just started reaching out to a lot more conferences. And that year, that was, I want to say it was either 2018 or it might have been 2019, one of those years. But I know I traveled the globe in distance twice, speaking at conferences. I was speaking in Dubai.
So how did you land these speaking roles? Like, what did you?
Well, what I did was once I had this particular like information, like, okay, people liked what I talked about. I just started pitching it like crazy to different conferences. I was going online, looking at conferences that were happening in tech. It's this website I use also called, I think it's papercall.io. So those who are listening, check it out.
.io.
And I believe that's it. I could stand corrected, but I believe it's papercall.io. And I was on there. I was just like looking in all the places to see where I can apply for talks. And most of them would pay for me to get there. They would pay for my hotel, and then they would give me a really small stipend. So don't get it twisted. I wasn't balling and rolling in the dough. They would pay for me to get there. They would get my hotel for like the 2 or 3 nights, and then they'll probably cut me like a $200 check. But for me, it was like, I mean, I get to travel. Like that was cool.
Sometimes the opportunity is bigger than the paycheck you could get from that opportunity. You know, and you've already demonstrated through the boot camp, through this Upwork speaking event that you had initially. Those were small, meaningless, like people would think, oh, they don't give you a fat check to be able to ball out with, to come train and learn or showcase your speaking. And like it's launched a full-fledged business for you, a business and that has taken you around the world. The boot camp launched you a full-fledged career that, you know, I'm pretty sure like you had to be among the first in your family to be in tech at that high of a level.
Yeah.
Software engineer.
Yeah. My mom worked as a pharmacist. My dad is a business owner. So yeah, this was, and my sisters and brothers, everybody really has that very enterprising spirit, but none of them are in tech.
How did they respond when you said how did they tell me this? Because this is going to be important for people watching. I know who's going to go through these changes as well. I want you to tell me 2 things. How did people respond when you said you're going to start taking a boot camp training for software design? And then how did people respond when you actually started, when they found out you were working in the tech industry, especially on the software side?
So just to echo what I said about not working during that boot camp, I had to come to my oldest brother. He's like one of the largest homeowners. He owns a lot of properties in the city of Detroit. And I had to come to him and say, listen, I need to live in one of your properties and I'm not gonna be able to pay rent. I'm sorry. But it's not gonna be for a long time, I promise. It's only gonna be, you know, the little 12 weeks. And after that, I'm gonna start, if it wasn't for my brother, I probably wouldn't have been able to do, or I might have had to work in the evenings and then be exhausted in the morning. Like, I don't know if I would have been able to graduate from
That's being resourceful though. Like, using the best of, you know, your options. Oh yeah, go ahead.
So no, I was just gonna say my brother was extremely helpful, because without him, I don't know. And then at the time, I didn't even have a car, now that I think about it, because my car went down like halfway through the boot camp. My car went down. And again, I'm now working. There was this is really cool. Like, luckily, my brother owns property downtown. So it was this really cool little train that could take you all around for free downtown Detroit. Hopped on that thing and made it work. Like, this is a layered story. It's layered.
It is, yo.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Oh man.
All right.
But
so
I haven't thought about this stuff until I've talked to you. You know, so it's crazy because I'm like, dang, I forgot.
Because I know so many people are gonna. It's so many integral parts of your story that are gonna resonate with so many people. Because I want them to get the lessons out of it on how you took initiative, on how you researched, tried things.
Yeah.
Because then most importantly, one of the most important is I want them to see people around them are going to react so differently or indifferent when they say they're trying to pursue a tech career, especially someone like you come from speech pathologist background, which is
it was unheard of. They're like, what are you trying to do? It was already bad that I had just came home from a divorce. So now I'm back. Now I'm back. Like, I don't have a husband anymore. And now I wanna live rent free in your home. They looking like, bro, you about to run out. You like close to running out. Okay. I'm grateful for my family. I gotta say, it was a trying time, and I have a son. So is that not another layer on top of the layers?
Hey, what Erykah Badu say, baggage lady? Oh my God, that's a lot. Hey, I know the whole family like, woo, boy, if this don't work out for her, boy.
Everybody was looking at me crazy, like, really? This is what we doing? But
I know so many others have similar situations where currently they're like, man, I gotta make my next move work out for me. And they're like, I want to do this, and a lot of people probably in their family or supporters are like, you want to do what? You don't know anything about tech. I had to help you program your iPhone. Right. You hear me? And like, how you gonna cash me out at the first of this month? That's what I need to focus on. That's what I need you to focus on. So, and then how do people respond to you when you started actually working in the field?
I think they were like, finally, if I'm honest. They were like,
and it was a long 12 weeks, huh?
We tired of taking care of you. I love them, no. They can't tell me no. I'm the baby. So you can't tell me no.
God.
Like,
say less.
You gotta give me all the grace.
We got a baby sister enough. Say less. I understand. Listen, shout out my baby sister. Woo! Okay, so all right, so I want to fast forward a little bit. So in your career, speaking around the world, I know you've spoken to many technologists. What are some of the common traits that you've heard talking to many technologists as far as what they are looking for when it comes to talent, or what they're looking for when it comes, or what even the great talent you've come across? What are some of the noticeable traits about them, even if they come from troubled backgrounds or non-troubled backgrounds? Just tell us about what are you saying in hearing talent-wise when it comes to those kids or tech?
Okay, so one of the main things I would say I see is that tech companies want to employ people who are fast learners, and they want to, and to just like elaborate on that a little bit more. You don't have to be, like the smartest in the room, but you need to be able to pivot to a entirely new technical tool that they're implementing or that they're introducing. So you need to have a very nimble mind, be able to be flexible in a sense, like, okay, we're not using this anymore. Okay, let's talk about this new product we're using. So that's one of the main things. And that comes with that resiliency too, that you can bounce back. Another thing is someone that is detail oriented. That's important. I can say that I'm not the most detail oriented, but through my work, I've learned to become more detail oriented. And it is definitely an emerging skill for me, but someone who makes sure that they are paying attention to all the little things so that the program can run successfully. Obviously, someone that is a team player, someone who can collaborate with multiple people from all walks of life and make it happen. Those are, I would say those are the three things. I'm sure there are more things that are out there, but if you can nail those, then you got it going on. Also, this is my bonus one. Someone who is a lifelong learner, who is always willing to learn something new with no hesitation. I think that is extremely important because, again, there will be new technology. Every time you turn around, something else is coming out and you need to be ahead of it. You need to be reading all of the tech journals, and the tech news needs to be coming to your email so you can be privy to what's going on out there. You never want to be in a room and you don't know what is going on or what they're talking about. So those are things.
And let me ask you this, because you said when you joined this boot camp, you know, and one of the things I noticed with a lot of aspiring cloud engineers is that they get caught up in choosing a role to pursue a certification for, a cloud certification for. And I always tell them that they're making a bigger deal of it than they realize. You know, it's not the tough part. You know, the tougher part is doing the work and studying the certification and getting on that journey to get into the industry. You know, but you really do yourself a disservice by going through analysis paralysis, trying to make the, and you just chose, and what I just say, what would you have to speak to? What are some of the things that you see those trying to get into the industry? How do you see them shooting themselves in the foot, or what's holding them back the most that you consistently see across the board?
That is a great question. I will just use an example from my experience. When I was in the boot camp, I studied exclusively backend. So it was the functionality of websites and apps. And so what I found is that I didn't really enjoy backend as much. I got this certification in Java and Python, and I was like, this is not fun. So I actually started teaching JavaScript, which is front end, the aesthetics of things. And I found that to be more appealing, and it aligned with my skill sets. But if I didn't have that back end capability, I don't know if I would have been able to finesse the front end. So I say all of that to say, just go in with the general focus, get the required time in to learn and make sure you're invested in this work. And then I believe a natural alignment will happen. As you're out in the field and you're learning different tools and different products, you'll find what is best for you. But the hardest part is actually getting up in the door, you know, so just focus on getting up into the door of learning all about what opportunities can be, you know, present for you. And then you can get a specialty later on. So I do think people shoot themselves in the foot because they go into into these different tech certifications or into these tech classes, workshop, boot camps, already assuming that they know what they want to work with. Be open, because that's going to change, you know, and I love how life is just surprising me at every moment. Like, wow.
Yeah. Take you around the world twice.
Yes, and that was just in 1 year. I was like, bam, bam. I was looking at my mileage like, woo. But I will say, when I made it to the continent, I was like, oh, this is where I like to be. And you always make fun of me because I be in Africa all the time.
Always. Because you always over there. I'm like, look, you got a little gold mine over there. You ain't told nobody about.
It's a little vibe over there, man. it's a beautiful feeling to be over there, not dealing with microaggressions. They have their problems because, you know, it's 54 different countries. I can't specify what's going on in each, but I will say the continent has issues, but the places I've visited, it's been all love. I'm like, yeah, I got to get back over here.
Well, and I'm going to ask one more question before I open it up to Q&A. Everybody get your questions ready. What would you say has been a learning experience for you throughout this journey, and a learning experience for you technology wise when it comes to even teaching and doing presentations in Africa in different countries? What are some things that's been an eye-opening experience for you that you didn't expect?
What I've learned about myself is that I have seasons. You know, I have seasons where I am extremely productive and I'm trying to learn new skill sets. And then I have seasons where I am just honing in on the skill sets I already possess. So I've been giving myself lots of grace as these seasons come and go, because you just never really know where your mindset is going to be. But I just want to live, and this could be a Pisces in me, but I just want to flow. You know, I know you
March 1st, 1989. I just want to let the people know. March 1st. What birthday?
February 28th.
I knew you was a February. I knew it. Something that we said. She a February Pisces. I'm sorry.
So just being patient with myself as I am flowing in and out of different spaces. You know, we have our times and spaces where we want to crack down and learn something new and apply ourselves in different ways. And then we have those where we just want to embrace what we currently have and try to see how far that can get us. So that has been the learning experience for me, not to just react all the time, but just to really allow these things to naturally to evolve. So you asked another question, but I can't remember what it was.
I needed that word. I just asked you about technology. Do you see any differences in how other countries are adapting to technology, or anything noticeable of they're taking advantage of opportunities? This group isn't, or they're just anything. It could be anything technology just related to the differences and especially like a country like Africa versus America.
I will say that I am starting to see more digital accessibility from the user standpoint, and I'm happy to see it. I'm happy that websites, or companies rather, are taking into account different people who will be accessing their website and modifying it, changing it. Like closed captions wasn't always just a big deal like it is now. There are websites where they read the information off to you now for people who may be blind or who have a hard time reading. So I'm loving how different countries are all jumping onto the bandwagon of digital accessibility. And I'm hopeful that it will only evolve from here, because 15% of the world's population has a disability. And it is high time that we take them into account, these individuals into account, as we are creating these different digital spaces. They need to be at the table. And you know what is funny that I'm saying is this is my segue into my book. So I wrote a book called Technical Difficulties, Why Dyslexic Narratives Matter in Tech. And I talk a lot about how companies can look at employing people with these different abilities and what they could potentially bring to the table. If you don't have anybody that you're employing who has ADHD or autism or dyslexia, how are you going to create a workflow, or how are you going to create products that they may find useful? So we want to have these people with these neurodiversities at our table as we're making decisions for our companies. So that's kind of what that book talks about.
Okay. And listen, I'm ordering the book now. It's in my cart. I'm ordering it right now.
You been had my book.
I think I did order it already, but I don't know.
It's cool. No, I'm just playing with But you've always been a really awesome supporter of all the things.
Because you're doing something world changing. Like, I think the thing about, and I've said this before, because I keep running into many Blacks in the space who are really making a different, like y'all are really the trailblazers. Y'all are going to be the people 50 years, 70 years from now. You know, the kids are talking about in the history books of this person was the first to do X, Y, and Z. This person led the initiative on X, Y, and Z, and cloud tech in a space that's so still premature. And so I always want to highlight that and praise that, use my platform, use my means, whatever I can do to help. Look, these are our icons right here. Like, let's not take this for granted. You know, if it was Google posting an announcement or something, or Microsoft, it'd be shared, you know, but it's like, look, these are our conglomerates of our greats here in the flesh. There's I love it. You know, so like, and what you're again, what you're doing is incredible. It's trailblazing work.
Thank you.
And listen, I'm continuing to be in awe as I watch your trips to Africa. I still think you got a gold mine. I still think you got a gold mine.
I might.
Yeah, I see. You know, you're from Detroit. I already know what's happening. But all right, so y'all, we're gonna open it up for Q&A. Y'all got any questions for Jeannette? Just go ahead and let it out. We're gonna do one at a time, so you all can take yourself off mute if you have a question.
I don't bite either, so.
Right. Even though it's definitely dinner time. All right, so I think somebody's going to end up asking the question. But let me ask my next question. What would you say? What would your message be to Black women who are transitioning into the field from? I mean, they were social workers, they were teachers, bus drivers, customer service reps, whatever, waitresses. What would your message be for them and their experience of what they're going to go through, and words of encouragement, inspiration, but also direct guidance on for them transitioning into the field?
I will say for Black women and possibly even Black men, make sure you tap into your support system. It's really important to have people who are available to assist in any way. I mean, I had moments where I had to call my friends, stressed out. I told you, I think I lost some hair behind the boot camp I went through. So just make sure you are in good standing with your support system so that you can tap in and get someone to pour back into you. You know, I know that we have to reciprocate how we are establishing our relationships, but sometimes we certainly need someone to pour into us. I will say mentorship is a fantastic idea. If you know someone that is already in that space, reach out. Say, hey, I am looking into doing da 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 da. Would you be open to meeting with me for accountability purposes? Or could you lead me, guide me? I think mentorship is just an amazing thing, because you can see the tangible gifts of someone else. You can see like, oh, if this person did it, then I mean, I should be able to do it too, right? So I would say those two things. And if I think of something else, I will tell you, but make sure you are in good standing with your support system, because you will need them. Make sure you
don't
find a mentor.
Don't be in your mama house cussing everybody out. Right. They don't believe in your tech journey. You know what I mean?
Going in.
You know, so yeah. And then the mentor, as I said in the last video, and I'm gonna say it again, you know, and I know you could relate. It's like, have some grace for the mentors that you reach out to. You know, like understand we're very, very busy. Like, we have real jobs, whether it's self-employed jobs, contract jobs, full-time jobs. We have actual jobs that we gotta, and livelihoods and families and other obligations that we have too. So we don't always have that immediate time for you. So don't take it personal. And listen, I'll pay my way in. Like I tell you all the time. Listen, if I see somebody as a mentor or whatever, I was like, hey, what can I offer you? What can I do for you?
That's a great point.
Lead with gifts, you know.
Can I take you to get a coffee?
You hear me? You hear me? You hear me? Like that's the thing, you know. You got to invest in yourself, and you got to set yourself up to stand out from the crowd of so many, you know, who are always looking for that free help or free guidance, you know.
And networking will get you very far. So I also would establish that. Make sure you are in Facebook groups. Make sure you are looking online. I used to do Eventbrite all the time, but after the pandemic, I have not. But there are always meetups happening. You know, women in tech meetup or Black men doing this meetup. Go and meet up. You know, I think the pandemic has certainly allowed for us to have more convenient meetups. A lot of times we're online now, virtually meeting with one another. So definitely tap into your family support, getting a mentor or an accountability partner, either or, or you can get both. And then networking will get you far, I can't tell you how many opportunities I've come across because I met somebody who knew somebody, and I was like, just do an intro then. And then, you know, bam, we sitting down talking about working together. So, yeah.
So like, and again, if you got any questions, just unmute yourself or drop your questions in the chat. So let me ask you this. So what kind of, what would you say, what kind of study material and books were helpful for you along your path? And this can, again, either be a technical book or a non-technical book, you know, but what books would you say in your career that's leading you to where you are currently? Again, speaking on tech around the world, some influential books.
I would say that I am really into audibles. So that could be a great means of acquiring knowledge without physically reading something. You can still comprehend that information. Designating time each day to listen, even if it's like 25 minutes, that's all you got. Go ahead and listen to it. Take notes. That's a part of being that active listener. If you hear information that resonates with you while you're listening, go ahead and jot that down. Any book that is like for dummies is my jam. Okay, so if it's Java for dummies or cloud-based computing for dummies, I highly suggest to get it. I've even found children's books on coding to be helpful to me because a lot of times they'll have graphics in there and you can be like, oh, this makes sense. It helps you to really acknowledge the processes. So I would say, like, children, don't sleep on children's books at all. I don't have any like at the top of my head right now, but I know that when I was learning Python, I grabbed a Python for Kids or something like that. And it was an easy read, but it just broke it down fundamentally for me. And that's the best way I learned. I learned by understanding the very bare minimum and kind of building up to that. Some people can just pick up anywhere and they got it. That's not me. I need to know like the foundational, like the very bottom, the low level, the elementary level, and then I can build my way up to high school and to that GED. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen. I still get stuck on the ifs, the if statements. You hear me? Like it gotta all connect. If it don't, that dot don't connect, I'm gonna be stuck on that dot until I figure out why. Man, listen, I'm with you on that. What would you say? What would you say is? Do you see yourself in the future of doing this? Oh, hold on. All right, Damon, go ahead. I'm gonna let you ask your question. Go ahead, Damon.
Yeah, what's going on, y'all? I just wrapped up the AWS practitioner course, and I am entering into Cantrell's solutions architect course. I've been looking at some jobs, just seeing what's out here in the Atlanta area, and I'm getting nervous because I'm seeing all these jobs that are saying you got to have 5, 6, 7 years of experience or have a bachelor's degree. So, I mean, these are lucrative salaries that come with these positions, but they want all this experience. So, you know, and none of them are actually mentioning that they're looking for certifications. So, like, realistically, what are we looking at out here?
I would say it's not who you know, is who knows you. Be an online stalker, okay? If you see a position that you're interested in, look into who is running that company. Look into the HR people. Find them on LinkedIn and be their friends, okay? Hop in some DMs and say, hey, I would love to connect with you and learn a little bit more about this role, you know, because I think a lot of times these roles have these very stagnant like responsibilities, or these stagnant requirements rather, and it's not necessary. And they'll take anybody, you know, that's why nepotism is a thing. People bring their cousins and brothers and put them on. So you need to make sure that you have all of the information about who is hiring for these roles and tap in. There was a website that I used to use. I haven't used it in a while, but basically you can put in a company and then it'll tell you from your connections who you know that works there. Start working that pipeline. I would not be discouraged by those different requirements, because a lot of times I believe they're there just to kind of weed people out. And if we're, I mean, and I don't want to get into the politics of it all, but I'll use an example as our ex-president Donald Trump. He met none of the qualifications, but he got up in office. So I would look at it like that. Like, I don't have to have a bachelor's, a master's, but I'm about to get this position. I'm about to work in this role. Let me see who I know and what I can do to make this happen for me. So it's going to be a lot of work from your end to understand who's working at that company. Are you on LinkedIn? Good. If you're on LinkedIn, I would type that company in. A lot of times they will tell you whether you know somebody from that company, and start hopping into people's their what's it called, the in-mails. That's what they call it for LinkedIn. Craft you a quick little message, something that's not very long, but kind of introduces you and what you offer. Provide a lot of verbs so they can see that you are action-oriented, solutions-oriented, and say, hey, I'm interested in this position. I wouldn't even tell them about the things that you don't necessarily have. I would just go in and get that initial meeting, and then you can kind of have those conversations as they present themselves. Does that make a little sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, because I've definitely had to talk to people for sure.
Listen,
I'm not above it.
Listen, that Donald Trump reference was remarkable, because listen,
come on,
he's always in my mind. Whenever I come across a job qualification, I'm like, man, we had a whole president who was
got a cult-like following. He got people who are obsessed with him. Like,
I say, if Trump can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? So
if we ain't learned nothing else from his presidency,
if you ain't picked up a lick of legislation that got passed, if you just take that message home with you, and it's so true, and I try to get that across every time that we have these engagements. That's why I bring Black Tech Heroes on, to show you, because I know, you know, people can get tired of hearing from me, and people can even sometimes not believe me. That's fine. But so I try to bring Black Tech Heroes in who have way more experience than I do, and exposure than I do, and skill set than I do, who can tell and they regurgitate the experience that they're seeing out there and seeing out there in the field, so you can hear from themselves. It's not just coming from me, it's coming from those who have also did the work even before I got in. So, you know, and that's the thing. It's like, listen, a lot of these job qualifications, oftentimes, if you've done enough interviews like I have, and Jeannette has, like, you know, you've talked to recruiters and HR persons who don't have any technical clue of what is going on with the job details. You know, they just went off Google and went off with a few words from the hiring manager, whatever, and slapped it up there. Like, they know. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. You were on a tangent and I was feeling it, but I didn't want to lose my train of thought. So I was just gonna say, connect with me on LinkedIn, and whatever person you want to know I may know them. I mean, I've worked for a lot of tech companies that are pretty prestigious. So, and I've done a lot of contract work. So don't hesitate to hop into my emails and be like, hey, I'm looking at a job at this company. Do you know somebody over there? And I'm gonna look on my end, because that's what it takes sometimes. It takes for us to work together in tandem to try to pull each other up into this industry.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say something else, but it slipped my mind.
Are you in the Atlanta area?
No, I've actually worked with a lot of people in the Atlanta area, but I am in the Detroit metro area. What was I gonna say, man? Oh, I was gonna talk about tech recruiters. And I was also going to talk about resume building. So maybe you can sit down with one of us and kind of get a resume revamp, sit down and say, hey, this is what I currently have. What should I do to stand out? I'd be happy to take 10 minutes to check out a resume and be like, if you are wanting this job, this is probably what you should put in that resume as well. And one more golden ticket that I've used to seal the deal on a couple jobs is I've gone to Indeed and looked at those requirements and then tweaked them and added them to my resume.
The finesse is real. The finesse. Listen, if these companies gonna finesse these, they're
I mean, y'all gonna finesse me. I'm gonna finesse you. We gonna be finessing each other.
Man, that's the thing. Y'all be trying to play the game straight with folks who aren't even playing the game straight with you. That's like this is a different world. This is a different beast. This is a different
industry. Get your butt on Indeed and put in the position you're looking for and glean off of that and slap it onto what you have. And if you feel like, okay, this is dishonest, then maybe what you could do is look at each bullet point of what they're requiring as far as the responsibilities and get to it. Figure out how you can learn how to do X, Y, and Z. So that is
I'm sorry, I just wanted to say this statement. All of us men have hollered at women who are out of our league. This is the same thing. Sometimes you hit. Sometimes you hit. You hear me? So
sometimes you miss.
Most times you miss. But listen, it ain't about the ones you don't make. It's about the ones that go in. You hear me? So listen, you got, like she's telling you the absolute truth. Jeannette, I know you could attest to working in the field, and you did all this hard work and studying and preparation and resume critique of your own, and you were super qualified for the job. You got the job, and you got on the job, and you saw your coworkers, who some of them were super unqualified, less qualified than you were, and some people might have been in positions.
That's that nepotism. They knew somebody, and that somebody knew them, and they got on in the door. So I say that we should take that to the 10th power. I'd also suggest using Twitter. Twitter is like a really big techie space. Every time I present at it's so odd. Every time
especially when you follow the hashtags. Oh my God.
Yeah, the hashtag. I mean, with so many platforms we have, it's really difficult to hone in on one. But I will say, every time I go to a tech conference, I have like droves of people that'll follow me on Twitter. So I'm under the mind that this is where the tech people are. So this is where all of my people then are at. So get on Twitter, create an account, and just start looking up some hashtags, tech jobs, technology field, the tech industry. I mean, put it all in, see what comes up. A lot of times people will post and say, hey, my job is hired. They're looking for somebody to do this. Bam, that's a lead. Now you got to hop in their DMs and be like, hey, I saw your job was hiring, da 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 da.
So. I see your hand, Raleigh. And I just want to say this real quick, Jeannette. If y'all going, and I'm gonna have her after Raleigh's question, I'm gonna have her give her contact on how she can be reached. But before y'all reach out to her, all right, you better make sure y'all buy her book, Technical Difficulties. All right, it's only for right now. It's only $10 on Instagram, on Amazon.
For
Go
limited
buy
time.
her. Don't come in somebody's office looking for them to give you life-changing advice and you ain't giving them nothing in return. All right. Bill, and I'm not doing this for a sleazy promotion or anything. I'm doing this because I want you to build this skill of this is how you're going to separate yourself from the pack, and not just this opportunity, but opportunities in the future. You gotta be willing to be resourceful and set yourself away from the pack. And oftentimes that's by contributing something to someone before receiving something to someone. You know?
And you know what I think about karma? You know, that's that good karma, and it's gonna come back around. I often look at the energy and things. You know, if you go into it, you're energetically like, I wanna pour in what I know. And potentially maybe that person can pour in to me. So it's just, you know, think about reciprocity. That's it.
All right, Raleigh, I'm gonna let you get the last question and go ahead, champ.
Well, I just not even a question, more like about what you're saying about how our requirements are not correct. You know, I've actually been on jobs where you go in and the hiring manager, the person that hires you has no idea what that job description even was.
They have no clue.
They were clueless. They were clueless. Right. So you come in and work, they don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The job is totally different from what you've seen.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, the finesse is real out here.
And we could really do anything we put our minds to.
It's a game.
It's
a game.
And once you learn the game, then you can, you know, kind of break the rules as you see fit. You got to learn the game first, though. If you don't learn it and you try to come in breaking rules, they're gonna be like, adios, amigo.
But yeah, but yeah, that's all you had, Raleigh?
Yeah, well, you know what? I got an example of, like, I'm doing working at paralegal right now.
Oh,
and I've actually had, I was given a suggestion by another paralegal that they normally want you to have all these certifications. And what I understand, a lot of lawyers don't even know what these certifications are. They just want you to. In fact, I've heard they'd rather have people who don't have a certification because they want to train you to do the job the way they want you to do. So I'm just wondering how much that goes on in tech too, because they want us to have somebody who can do the job the way they want it done, as opposed to all these so-called requirements. Because actually, they don't really want to do with all that, because they got untrained you from the bad habits you may have gotten over the years.
That's a fact. And I want to speak to this when it comes to these certifications. I made this post in the group a couple of days ago, you know, because y'all know I go on my tangents, you know. But when I get that Holy Spirit, it usually hit me about 2, 3 a.m., you know, and I hit my tangents. But it's like here's what I want you all to know, and this is some professional advice that I received that I'm forwarding on. When these companies pitch to clients to offer their services to them, they're often utilizing credentials of, well, all of our engineers are such and such certified. We're partners with this certification company. So it becomes a part of the sale. So therefore, that cloud certification is essential because it's in line with the pitches and promises and guarantees they make to their partners. And if they operate outside of that, then they could be, you know, breaching contract. So that's why I always tell you all, get your cloud certification. I would never not tell you to get your cloud certification. What I will also heed you on is after you get your first 1 or 2 cloud certification, don't become a cloud certification junkie. Don't become a tool certification junkie. You want to get Python. You want to get JSON. You want to get Kubernetes certification. After that point, like those tool certifications, etc. Nobody's checking for those, because as I always say, they're gonna, when you tell them you have your certification, the very next question they're gonna ask you is, okay, well, what did you build? What did you do? What project did you do using that?
You need to be on GitHub.
Your repo about to be decked out. If you're not in the industry, you don't have any actual tech work experience, you need to be completing labs. I always say at least 3 labs. And those labs need to be connected to your repo. And again, I know I'm kind of tangent here, but I get so I get so many comments and so many questions in my DMs. I'm responding outward to them, not to you all. So I don't take questions, but it's you have to, when you say where I should get this at, just like Jeannette described earlier in her story, you have to go and search this stuff out. Where can I find labs to fulfill being a cloud security labs? Where can I get DevOps labs? Where can I get front end labs? Portfolio, yeah. And where do I store my portfolio? In most cases, you're going to find out when you Google it, it's going to be GitHub.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing any kind of dev work. So, but all right, Jeannette, I'm not gonna hold up much of your time. I appreciate everyone else, really, really do. I love when y'all get on. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all support. It helps me feel like I'm not just having this conversation with myself. You know, so I know it's gonna go crazy on YouTube. So Jeannette, tell people how they can reach. Remember, y'all better have a book before you DM.
Don't reach out unless you get
people who get on my DMs, and I get DMs every day. The people who consistently get responses from me are people who purchase my blueprint. Because I'm like, I owe that to you at least. If you're gonna go out your way and consume something that I'm trying to help people, okay. And it shows me that you're committed to trying to really take action, because you can give so many people so many advice, so much help, and they haven't taken the steps, and it's gonna piss you off because you can be like, damn, I done wasted all this time. So anyway, how can people get in touch with you and reach you?
You can get in touch with me by really searching my company. It is called Barely Articulating. That's BEARLY, like an actual bear. ARTICULATING. And or you can just search my name, Jeannette Roberes, ROBERES, and you will see a plethora of information with regard to the work that I've done in tech. I would be happy to connect with you all on LinkedIn so that I can put you in touch with people. Though I may not be in your general area, I guarantee you, I know somebody who's working in that area. So we can make it happen.
Awesome. And okay, all right. And then where can people buy your book, most important?
Oh yeah, you can buy my book, Technical Difficulties, Why Dyslexic Narratives Matter in Tech, via Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and I just released the Audible. I was talking a little bit earlier about listening to information and being an active listener by taking notes. You can now purchase it via Audible. And I think it's really short. If you get the Audible, it's like an hour and 30 minutes or something. It's really short, if that.
Awesome. All right, well, listen, again, kudos to you. We're going to continue to support you in your journey. You're doing remarkable things. You're a trailblazer. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't got nothing on what you going on right now. I'm just a young kid with a GED trying to make something happen out here. Oh, y'all can definitely throw me some cigars too. I take cigar offers if y'all want to. That curious. But thank you what you're doing for real. You're changing the world, changing so many kids' lives, changing so many adults' lives. This work will be etched in stone. It's going to be remembered forever. I really want you to receive that. I really want you to know that what you're doing is no small feat. It's not easy to build a business. It's not easy to travel the world alone doing these speaking engagements. And then you're taking care of your son. I mean, you got so many things that working against you, and yet you're striving, you're excelling for beyond most human beings' capacity. So you really truly are doing something special. Detroit's finest. They better have a plaque of you. They better give you a key.
What up, dog?
They better give you a key. You hear me? And again, thank you again. You are our Black Tech hero.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, y'all. We out of here. Enjoy your evening. Bye.